Welcome to another edition of the Dementia Care Partner Talk Show. Now, here's dementia care expert Teepa Snow and your host, Greg Phelps.
Hello and welcome to the Dementia Care Partners podcast. I'm your host, Greg Phelps, along with Teepa Snow. And Teepa, have you written another book or co-authored another book? Or, me, I'm still with coloring books, but you seem to put these things out all the time.
Well, we've gotten better over time. It wasn't that we didn't have the content, it's that we didn't have the writers, the people who would take what I say and help form it into sentences that you can read on paper. And so Dan Bulgarelli and Christine Brody work with me, and we've done one on the relationships. And now we've done one, when is enough enough? Really?
Well, that's a good question. Are we talking money? Are we talking alcohol, cars?
There you go. So this phrase, when is enough enough, has lots of variation in meaning. So let me just say, I'll say a few words. Well, hey, Greg, I have enough. Would you like some of what I have? Because I have more than enough, actually.
Surprisingly, I'm going to flip this back on you and I'm going to say, well, you do that all the time because you have knowledge and you keep giving out the knowledge. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. But I have to make sure that what I have to offer you're interested in.
Oh, really?
Well,
you got a target audience? Come on.
I guess I'm just putting it on the ground and hoping somebody will scoop it up. If I don't make sure we have a relationship where you want what I have, that extra to give. And I think sometimes we don't make sure. I have enough. I actually have extra. Would you like some? The first question is, what do you have? And am I interested in it? And, it's like, if not, I'm pushing and pedaling and I'm not interested in that. But, so I think I have enough. I'm satisfied. I have enough. When I have enough, I can keep going because I have essentially what I need, and maybe a little bit of what I want. So I'm in a good place. If I'm in a good place, I can really direct energy and do things that make a difference in the world because I have enough. I'm not running on empty. But then it could be enough. I've had enough. This is enough. That's it. Enough already. So tell me what.
Didn't see that one coming.
Figured I'd flip the switch.
Uh-huh.
So when I do that one, what's your take on that one?
That one's an oops. I guess I shouldn't have said that, or oops, I shouldn't have gone there, or
the enough I have is the enough thing. The thing that I'm having, I've actually. Does it sound like I've had enough or I've had too much?
Oh, it sounds like you've actually had too much.
Yeah. Is it a thing I like or a thing I don't like?
Well, apparently the tone of your voice, even an amateur like me can pick up that maybe it's something you don't like.
Yeah. So enough already. That's enough. What it's saying is, I don't want this anymore. I don't want any more.
I just heard my mother.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that's enough. I just heard that.
You just heard that. Enough already. Yeah. So what it means is I'm cutting off the relationship right here. And wow. It's like, and I surprised you with it, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Because what led us to that place was that I was covering that I was reaching my limit until I reached it. And so the other thing mothers are famous for saying, or at least mine was, you're getting on my very last nerve. And it's so tempting. What would happen if I tapped on the nerve one more time?
Oh, I bet you did at least once.
Oh, I bet I did too. And I bet I paid the price for that. Because unfortunately, when people have had enough, there's often an explosion at that point. And the explosion surprises both of us sometimes. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, but you need to go sit down for a while. You need to quit doing what you're doing. And it's that moment of, so I've had too much of something, but I'll also, if we were putting a balance scales, I'll also bet I don't have enough of something else that I need. So this idea of being in balance and recognizing the value and importance of balance, and recognizing when somebody does not have enough of something. They don't always explode. They just sort of sink into, like, if I'm feeling empty and I don't have enough to keep going, I'll either possibly become really anxious and I want to grope and find it and hold on to it. And I start hoarding it because I might need it later. And I just want to hold on to it, but I can't do anything because if I have it and people want it, then I have to hide it and keep it. It's like, what are you doing with it? Well, I'm keeping it. For what? Well, in case.
Well, thank you, Teepa, for not hoarding your knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I could have, but I just don't see the value in that. I mean, and that's why, something of what we do is always free because we really don't want to put boundaries. But I've also found out sometimes, when I said people take what I do and they shift it, it's like, the reason I have copyrights on stuff is not because, I want to limit, but sometimes people say, well, you do hand under hand to restrain people. And it's like, you what? No, that's not why you use hand under hand. And or they'll say, well, it's hand over hand. And it's like, yeah, no, that's not it either. And so being responsible for what you have and you're offering, if I have enough and I want to offer something, I still have to be responsible for that. I mean, if you haven't eaten for a long time and I give you a feast, but you haven't eaten for a long time, guess what's going to happen?
It's not going to be pretty.
It's not going to be pretty. And I make you throw up or get sick. And that wasn't my intent. So providing support, that's the right support. That's a tricky thing with when is enough enough? So that was the book. I mean, that was us working through this and really recognizing, wow, enough, that word, enough, is really complicated. Just like dementia.
So take us briefly through the book. I mean, we're going to buy the book, but take us briefly through the book.
Yeah. So we start off with this concept of, really, there are three of us writing this book. So it's not just me.
Was that enough?
And that was enough. That was a good balance.
Three was enough.
Because, we got, Dan, who's a guy who's like really logical and very wordy. And we've got Christine, who's very emotional and and Dan is also emotional and very, he's really directed though. And he's not into the details. He's into the big sort of, it depends. And then you have me, who's sort of in the middle sort of thing. So, our basic introduction is introducing this whole concept, but then the first real section is how do you find balance in your life? How do you start to recognize what's out of balance? And how do you start to bring it into balance? And then the second chapter is how do you keep the balance? Because it's one thing to achieve it, but how can you actually keep this balance of enough and know when you're starting to tip and having the resources and recognizing I need help or I'm good, I'm fine. Actually, I could take something else or I need to let go of this so I can do this. And then finally, this idea of staying that way through the changes that are taking place in your world and in your life and helping other people stay balanced. How do you provide that? And that's your goal, is to help other people have enough and stay balanced. How do you do that wisely? So, and how do you check yourself out and how do you help other people check in? So it's a process of looking at what do you do if you have more than, it's that whole thing that we talked about. So that's how we go through it, is looking at these things.
So when you're putting this book together, how did you decide that you had enough in there?
Well, we started with a whole different direction. We changed directions 4 times before we finally got to the final version. And the final version really looks at the primitive brain and the more cognitive brain and the rhythmic brain to sort of put it all together to figure out, and we have different brains doing different things and personality traits matter. So we went back to what gives somebody a sense that they have enough and who's ignoring that they're empty. And how do we help people recognize, what might be missing is I'm not sure you're getting enough sleep. Maybe you're not getting enough support. I wonder if so looking in the mirror and then helping someone else look in the mirror. Because in the world of care support, what we'll often do is wear ourselves out. And all we do is become the other side of the equation if we're not careful.
But it's not a textbook.
It is definitely not a textbook. It's more of a little workbook. And so, like we'll ask a question. So we'll say, so like, let's take a look. You need nourishment, you need hydration, you need that. So how are you doing with that? How do you do getting that? How's that going for you? And then we might actually look at, well, how are you doing spending your energy? How are you spending your energy? Are you enjoying how you're spending your energy? Are you taking energy in and recuperating? How are you doing with that? It's called sleep and rest. And then how are you doing with getting things out, eliminating things that are bothering and irritating and waste? How are you at getting rid of stuff you don't need anymore? In a big picture, but also in a very real picture. And then what are you doing that makes you feel comfortable? Because you want to be comfortable, but not too comfortable. Stress is not a bad word. It's just how much stress, and in what areas, and versus being distressed, which is where's the pain index for you. So looking at those kind of things and finding balance.
Teepa, is the book available now? Like, is this in stores or is this on the website? It would be nice to have it in every store in the world.
It would be a nice thing to have available to folks. We actually have it on Amazon. We also have it on our website. So we've got it available in 2 different places that you can pick it up and go. And I think some people are working on looking at whether it needs to be in other languages. But for right now, it's in English.
Teepa, thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
You've been listening to the Dementia Care Partners podcast, brought to you by Positive Approach to Care. For more information, teepasnow.com.
Hi, I'm Teepa Snow, and you just found our YouTube channel and watched one of our videos. I'm the owner and founder of Positive Approach to Care. Thanks for watching, and if you liked, if you have a comment about, or you would, please share it with people you know. Oh, and if you haven't yet done it, consider subscribing. We'll let you know when the next new video comes out. And you might want to visit our website, www.teepasnow.com, where you'll find other resources as well. See you there.